I'm now going to turn to the last of the isms here, postmodernism, and I will go back to purple, cycling through the colors here. But I've used the squares, or the rectangles rather, for idealism. So for the postmodernism positions, I'm going to use a different shape. I'll use a triangle here. All right, postmodernism, complicated. When we turn to it, I think it will be fair to say that the postmodernists are, for the most part, an integration of some of the earlier systems. In much of their epistemology, they draw on pragmatism. In much of their analysis of society, they are drawing on Marxism. In much of their view of the human condition and the quest for meaning of life, they're drawing on themes that come out of existentialism. There's even a little bit of behaviorism that one can throw in there. And what that then means is postmodernism as a system is somewhat complicated. Now, one of the things that's built into postmodernism metaphysically, though, is an official view that there is no such thing, right? That one of the lessons they will argue we should draw from the history of metaphysics and this ongoing debate between the naturalists and the supernaturalists is that there is no such thing as a right answer to the question whether God exists or doesn't exist, whether we can explain the universe in naturalistic terms or not. And for that reason, many of the postmodernists will describe themselves as anti-metaphysical. So one official position that the postmodernists rather can say, and I'll put it out here, is then just to deny that there's a possible position that one can take metaphysically. So we'll just put that out here. That said, most of the postmodernists, in terms of what they actually believe, most of them are non-religious, non-idealistic, and so I think their default position is a kind of naturalism. So I'll put a dotted line somewhere in this world, right? Well, if we just take naturalism to be not a supernaturalism. In terms of the epistemology, most of the postmodernists are strongly skeptical, and they spend a great deal of time attacking reason, or what they take to be the pretensions of reason, the pretensions of the scientific method. That's just one way of looking at things. They also will spend a great deal of time attacking traditional faith-based and mystic-based approaches to religion as well. And so they will again argue that perhaps there is no such thing as epistemology as traditionally conceived. There is no such thing as knowledge. There is no such thing as a means of coming to know a true story of the universe. And so again, we can put the postmodernists off the spectrum in the sense of just denying that there is any sort of thing here. Part of this has to do with the postmodernist view of human nature. Again, the postmodernists are like the behaviorists, like the existentialists, arguing that human beings can be conditioned by the social environment in which they are raised. They're inculcated with certain linguistic traditions, and that shapes their thinking and what they come to believe to be true. But there are different linguistic traditions out there in the universe, and so people then come to have very different traditions. On that view, there is a kind of reductive materialism that is built into most of postmodernism, but again with the dotted lines, because they would not ever say the truth of the world is that it's a material system that operates certain sorts of ways. And at the same time, they are also opposed to dualism, which is why I'm putting them more at this spectrum here. They are denying that there's anything like a mind or a spirit or a soul or even reason, right, that can autonomously function independently of shaping conditions here. All right, when we turn to ethics, again, the postmodernists are skeptical about ethics. They don't think that there is such a thing as a science of ethics, or that traditional religious ethics has any sort of a lock on the truth. And so one thing that we can do is say that the postmodernists are anti-ethics as a branch of philosophy. Instead, all we have is cultural conditioning or linguistic conditioning, and so all we can do is really just describe the positions that people end up believing in when it comes to value issues. But that said, I'm going to put the postmodernists, for the most part, somewhere over on this part of the spectrum here, because if you look at their actual normative beliefs, like the Marxists, from whom they've learned a great deal, they tend to see most belief systems as containing strongly predatory elements in them, and then when they are themselves advocating particular things, they tend to advocate much more communal and social and altruistic right approaches to ethics. All right, that said, this is philosophy vertically. That is to say, if you look at the colored boxes and you put them together, what we have is, in the case of idealism, a package here. The idealists believe this metaphysically, this epistemologically, this in terms of human nature, and this in terms of the ethics. And the other 7 are arrayed differently along the spectrum in different packages.